What's up, guys? It's your boy Rich with Norqain's new Freedom 60 GMT. And it's in 40 millimeters, 49.2 from lug to lug, and 14.5 millimeters tall with a seriously domed sapphire crystal. And I think the big news that came out of Norqain has to be this, the movement that is powering their new line of watches. And we'll get to that in just a moment. So the version I have right in my hands is bronze, but if you're not a fan of bronze, it's also available in steel in the exact same look. And I know some of us aren't a fan of bronze. I am, and many of you have messaged me saying that you like bronze, but it gives your skin a certain reaction. Well, the good news is, while the rest of the case is solid bronze, the portion that comes into most contact with our skin, the back of the case, is not solid bronze. It is only bronze PVD. So I thought that was very thoughtful of Norqain to do that. For anyone of us who has that skin reaction, we won't have that here. So, you know, if I didn't tell you the price or any of the qualities of a Norqain watch, I think we can agree that this just oozes quality, right? I mean, a lot of times we have to be informed of what the price is or certain unique qualities of a watch before we start to form a judgment to decide whether or not that watch has a premium feel. I think in Norqain's case, it just oozes quality without us knowing anything about the watch. It definitely has a premium feel, and I think it matches with the premium look. Especially if we haven't handled a Norqain watch, I think we'd be able to tell ourselves that that's just a quality watch regardless of anything else I learn about the watch. So, and that's because it does have a Breitling connection. One of the board members that sits on Norqain is Ben Kufer, who has been for many years with Breitling. So he brought that expertise and experience with him when he joined the Norqain team. So there's no surprise of why this watch is just really well made. And Norqain has also gone a slightly different route than many other independent or boutique brands that sell directly to consumer from their website, and Norqain does that as well. But they are also positioned in the higher end retailers, which is going to explain why, again, they started focusing on their movements. And we'll get to that in just a minute. I want to get into the GMT function because I think it is a good one. So I'm going to pull the crown out into position 2. And so I'm in LA. So if I want to know, for example, what time it is in New York, I can do that rather easily with what Norqain calls their quick set system. So here I can change the time really quickly, and I just went around in a matter of a second. But what I'm trying to say is, my point is, you see the second hand, it is sweeping away, doing its thing, meaning it isn't stopping. So it's not disrupting our other time zone. And the other important thing that I want to talk about is the date window, because so right now it's sitting on the 31st, but if I turn the crown counterclockwise, I can change it to the 30th. I'll go one more round, and there it goes to the 29th. And if I want to return back to the 30th, I just turn the crown clockwise, and there it goes back to the 30th. So nicely thought out by Norqain. One of the other overlooked parts of a lot of watches is that date window that I just got done focusing on. Norqain got it right, because you see it's not a white date window. It matches the dial. The only part that is white are the number that represents the date. So another nicely executed, well thought out dial layout and dial color by Norqain. It has a 24-hour time zone dial right in the center portion right there of the dial. So the black portion up there will be for PM. So it'll go from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And the white portion right underneath that is the AM mode. So that'll go from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Just a very stunning watch. Swiss made, of course, is just a great looking watch. So now let's get into the movement. Oh, by the way, here's the plating there that's available for all Norqain watches. And we can have it engraved with anything we want, or in this case, it's just left alone where it just says Norqain. So now let's talk about the movement. This movement is what they call their manufacturer caliber NN20-2. And this is a movement that is in partnership with Kinesi. And Kinesi is owned by Tudor. It also has 70 hours of power reserve. So our immediate thoughts would be 70 hours of power reserve. That's going to sound a lot like Tudor's. Well, that's because of the connection with the Kinesi manufactured movement here. So that explains that. So a nice looking movement. There's our custom rotor. A lot of plating back here, but also really tastefully done. They did a nice job with this. And you know, there's a pretty good look at the movement there. So you know, like I said, if we didn't know anything about it, including the price or anything about the watch, we should be able to tell that this is quality. The retail price on this model is $3,790. Is that a lot of money? Well, just talking about the monetary amount, it is. But I think it was important for them to have as close to an in-house movement as possible, especially since they are in the higher end retailers alongside some of our favorite mainstream brands that do have in-house movement. So that was an important direction that Norqain wanted to take, and I think they did a nice job here. This is still priced well below a lot of other of those Swiss brands with similar functions. So I still think this is a nice value compared to a lot of the other watches we are getting. But not all Norqains are priced in the $4,000 range. So, for example, here is their Adventure Sport, and this is priced at $1,790, and this is powered by the ETA 2824. It has a nice ceramic bezel inlay, and there's that beautiful textured dial there, which is meant to look like the continuous mountain patterns on the dial there. So this is still one of my favorite divers right here, and this is in 42 millimeters, I believe. So Norqain does have a nice range of watches priced in starting at about $1,800 on up. The model that first caught my attention with Norqain is this. This is their Freedom Chronograph, and here again, I think this is just another model that just oozes quality, and that's because it is. So this is powered by the 7753 movement. So this is the one that started it all for me regarding Norqain. But now let's return to the star of this video, which is their Freedom 60 GMT. So again, this is really, I think, just a very nice looking watch. It is a nice leather strap, and there's their mountain patterns right there, all four of them. It's lined in, I believe this is rubber. But is there something that I might be a little critical about? Well, I wouldn't call it criticism. I would call it recognition or understanding that some people might be thinking, well, 14.5 millimeters is not a thin watch, and it's not. It's a rather sounding chunky watch on paper, but remember, this is at least a 3 to 4 millimeter thick domed sapphire crystal, so it doesn't wear as chunky as 14.5 millimeters might indicate. It also has a bubble case back right there. The reason that for me, why it's not an issue is I like a watch in 40 millimeters to have some wrist presence, and I think a little bit of a thicker watch for me works for me, especially if it's not a dress watch, and I don't consider this a dress watch at all. This is a nice everyday watch with jeans and a tee, which is how I wear this. So for me, if that thickness on paper is not a factor, but it is worth pointing out because I know that some people are going to think that, but again, it's largely because of that domed sapphire crystal, but I think it sits really nicely on the wrist and gives it really nice wrist presence. So, you know, do I think this watch is overpriced at about $3,800? You know, that's a difficult answer for me to say, not because of my relationship with Norqain or anything. It's just, I think it is a fair price. Without it having this as near as we can get to being an in-house movement, that would open up to a little bit more of a dialogue. As it is, I don't think so, because I've seen other watches that are priced higher than what this is for not as great of quality as this, and with this nice movement in here. I've seen some that are priced a little bit lower. Those I can say I don't think are on par with a Norqain, but you know, this is debatable, right? Again, this is a really long answer, but for me, a short answer is I don't think this is overpriced. But I know that's going to be the immediate question because this is a brand that's only been around since 2018. For me, I don't judge a watch by how new it is if the quality is there. So again, that was my point of earlier saying that if you didn't know anything about this watch, you could just tell that it oozes quality. But I can already hear some people saying, well, $3,800, this, and the other. So my answer in defense to that is this is just a really handsome watch. It has great pedigree behind it. And again, it's as close to an in-house movement as they can get. This is a movement that is not available to everyone. It is in partnership with Kinesi, and it is custom made for Norqain. So if we're looking for a nicely made GMT in bronze or steel, and that movement is important to us, then I think this Freedom 60 GMT is going to be a really great option for us. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you the next time. So I think this milk brown dial, this milky chocolate dial, so these 3 stitches on the strap is what are mounted, 3 stitches, 4. Come on, Rich, you're better at math than that.